In this video, I'm going to talk about 3 ETFs that are performing better than the S&P 500 and if I will invest in any of them. Before getting into the list, let's have a look at how the S&P 500 is performing this year. The year-to-date performance for the S&P 500 is a growth of 27.62%. The S&P 500 gives an average rate of return of 7% every year. So getting 27% is absolutely unbelievable. We've seen a growth of 8.79% in just the past 1 month, which is again unbelievable gains. So let's get into the list. So the first ETF on my list is the Lithium and Battery Tech ETF. As the name suggests, this ETF is concerned with lithium and battery technology. Lithium battery technology is essential for the rise of these new electric vehicles, renewable energy and mobile devices. The Globalx Lithium and Battery Tech invests in full lithium cycle from mining and refining the metal through the battery production. This ETF has seen a growth of more than 100% in just 1 year. So if you had invested 100 euros within this ETF last year, you would have 200 euros in just 12 months, which is absolutely amazing. Albemarle Corp is the biggest holding within this ETF at about 11.24%. Then we have Tesla Inc. at 5.39%, followed by Eve Energy and TDK at again 5%. In terms of sector breakdown, this ETF holds approximately 43.4% in the materials sector, then industrials is 25.6%. 45% of the companies within this ETF are based on China. The net assets within this ETF are $5.83 billion and the total expense ratio is at 0.75%, which is pretty high compared to the S&P 500, which is at about 0.07% per annum. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button. It only takes a second and helps me out a lot. The second ETF that I have on this list is the Rare Earth Strategic Metals ETF. Now, as the name suggests, this ETF is concerned with rare earth metals. Now, there are 44 rare earth metals on the periodic table and they're used in a variety of technologies. For example, jet engines, hybrid cars, steel alloys, wind turbines, flat screen TVs, cellular phones, you name it. Now the key points of this ETF are that it's a highly volatile industry that supplies key inputs to many of the world's most advanced technologies. It has rapidly changing supply and demand dynamics and it is again heavily dependent on China. This ETF has grown approximately 82% within the last year. If you look at the top 10 holdings, the biggest holding within this ETF is Liontown Resources Limited at 7.33%. The second biggest holding is Zhejiang Cobalt Corporation Limited at 7.29%. Again, if you look at the country weightage, China is at 33.09%, followed by Australia at 30.40%. The total assets in this ETF are $1.1 billion with a total number of 20 holdings. And if you look at the total expense ratio, it is 0.63%. Third on the list is the Globalx Uranium ETF. And again, as the name suggests, this ETF is totally dependent on mining and the production of nuclear components. This ETF has seen a growth of 113% in the past year. The Globalx Uranium ETF provides investors the access to a broad range of companies involved in uranium mining and the production of nuclear components, including those in extraction, refining, exploration, and manufacturing of equipment of the uranium and nuclear industries. The biggest holding of this ETF is Nameco Corporation at 23.33%. In terms of sector breakdown, this ETF has 76.7% in materials, 14.9% in industrials. In country breakdown, it's heavily dependent on Canada with a weightage of 49.9%, which is followed by Australia at 13.6% and Kazakhstan at 10.7%. The net assets of this ETF are $1.52 billion and the total expense ratio is at 0.69%. So will I be investing in any of these ETFs? The answer is no, I will not be investing in any of these ETFs. These are heavily dependent on a specific sector. As I do not actively follow any of these sectors, I think I will be sticking to S&P 500, which gives me more diversity in terms of my risk distribution. Click here to see my whole stock portfolio and here if you want to know how you can retire early. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bleibt gesund.